don't take anything for granted. Nothing's promised. People can tell you things, people can show you things, say things, and it's all up to you. If you don't put in the work, you're not going to get what you want. Even if you put in the work, you may not get what you want, but at least you tried. Don't be passive to the point where you're just not trying.
Welcome back to another episode of Back to Life. It's yours truly, Buckley, on there, and I'm here with a special guest, Mr. Jordan Ofeimu. How you doing today?
Good. How are you, man?
I'm doing good. I was speaking to Jordan a little while earlier, but he played at Wardolph as well as Saginaw Valley, and he played defensive tackle. Our first question I like to ask everybody is, for you, you played football. Why football?
Originally, I played soccer. Just a little background. My family's from Nigeria.
So for you, I like to ask everybody, why football?
Yeah, for me, I kept getting bigger. I was a soccer player. I played a lot of soccer growing up. And I grew up playing soccer, but as you can see, my brothers play. As I was getting older, I got bigger, and a lot of my family members that played football told me that my body was more suited for American football. So that's when I made that switch into playing American football.
Got you. So you mentioned a little bit earlier that you're originally from Nigeria, your family's from Nigeria, and then you transitioned to playing American football. Was giving up like football as you know it to American football, was that something hard for you to do?
No, at a young age, it wasn't. I mean, I was really good at soccer. There's something about the physicality of football that intrigued me, and it was a smooth transition for me. It wasn't like, oh man, I'm putting down something I love. It was super young of an age. It was like around 8, 9 years old when I made that transition. So it wasn't like I was super invested in soccer. But as I grew up, seeing how much my family loved the sport of soccer, it kind of made it put a little salt in my mouth a little bit. Like, dang, I should have stuck with it. But I was happy with playing football.
Gotcha. What position did you play when you played soccer?
I played forward. I played center back. I played really anything. At that age, it was whoever was the most athletic.
Right.
If you could run, if you were physical, if you could kick the ball, you could pass, you could dribble, you were good to go. So I had that skill set at an early age. So
Playing soccer helps with some of the things that go into football. But ultimately, you played in high school, and then you were able to play to at the next level. You were to go off to college. So for you, you said you played at Waldorf and Saginaw Valley. Did you start at Waldorf and then transfer to Saginaw Valley, or the other way around?
yeah, so Waldorf is an NAIA school in Iowa. My senior year, I had a lot of my recruitment was kind of dwindling down. I tore my ACL my first game my senior year, and I didn't have the grades. So a lot of schools that were Division 1 that wanted to offer me a scholarship kind of backed off. Um, so I had very limited options. I only had Eastern. I had a lot of the D2 schools, Ferris State, Bowling Green. Well, not Bowling Green, that's D1. Ferris State, what else? Wayne State, um, a few other schools. But I was like, nah, I'm not trying to do that. I went to Waldorf. In my head, okay, I'm only going to be here for a year, and then I'm going to go somewhere else that's a little bit more competitive. I did that. I went to Waldorf for a year, and then I transferred to Saginaw Valley.
Okay. So you mentioned something I think is very pivotal for anybody that's trying to go play at the college level. You mentioned that you had the talent to play D1. Unfortunately, you didn't have the grades. I think, although you got injured, can you speak to how important having the grades are? Because obviously, getting hurt is a thing, and it can take a damper on your recruiting. But I think that if you may have had the grades, it may have helped you with some of the schools, some of the D1 schools that was looking at you.
Oh yeah, that was. I mean, they realistically the injury I could redshirt the first year. I mean, it wasn't a big deal for them. But as soon as we sat down and they're like, let me see your transcripts, a lot of people think like, oh, college football athletes are dumb, or there's like this stigma about college football athletes being, not academically to par. Um, it's so far from the truth because if you don't have the grades, unless you're like maybe number one in the country at your position, and even then it's still like those you'll go to JUCO. Like, but it's so important that you have those grades because at the end of the day, they're looking at it as an investment. If I invest in you to come to my school, can you handle the workload? Can you stay in the school? And if you can't handle the workload, then there's no point. There's 100 other players that you know have the same skill set as you, same size or bigger, whatever, and they can handle it. So they going for the next best thing. If you can't handle the workload as far as school and being a student athlete, then they're not gonna want to.
So with that, and obviously with pretty much all of the conversations that I have with everybody, the goal is to talk about life after sports. For you, with the opportunity of going D1 and then that not materializing with the grades, did that idea of potentially like playing in the NFL, if that was your goal, or making a career out of sport, did some of that dwindle at that time when you had to go to Waldorf?
Most definitely it did. Yeah, I went through a whole little identity crisis. Like that senior year, I was sitting out the whole I injured myself the first game. I sat out the whole season, and I'm just hearing like my teammates in high school telling me, "Oh, he's finished." I'm hearing like a lot of negative things, and then I'm going to these campuses for official visits, and I'm turning in my transcripts, meeting with the admin, trying to get enrolled, and they're like, "Ah." So it definitely hit me like, man, I might not. This NFL thing, this dream of mine, may not come true. So yeah, it definitely took a toll on me for sure.
Fair. With you going to Waldorf, like you said, you did the 1 year and you transferred. I imagine that your thought was, I'm going to play the 1 year and transfer up. But for you to
Hmm.
go to Saginaw Valley, is Saginaw Valley an NAIA D2, D3? Like, what level is that at?
That's D2.
Okay. So while you were
Mm.
there, did you still think that, okay, I'm going to spend a year or two here and then transfer up? Or were you just like, I'm going to finish this out and get a degree?
When I stepped on campus, when I seen the players on the team, there was some guys that, well, they're not currently in the NFL, but they had NFL scouts looking at them. Um, I was content. I was happy. Like coming from Iowa, where there's like only in the city that I was in, there was only like 300 people in the whole
Mm-hmm.
city, and that's including the college students. So for
Damn.
me, it was like, for me, I made it, but it's easier said than done. So I had to go through another obstacle when I got to Saginaw.
Got you. So while you were there, like, how did your football career go? Did you have good seasons? Did you guys have winning seasons? Like, how did that go for you?
At Waldorf or Saginaw.
At both.
So Waldorf, coming off the injury, I wasn't thinking I was gonna play too much. I was just trying to get my grades up so I can go ahead and because I was keeping contact with schools like Saginaw, Wayne State, and they were like, "Look, get your grades up. We'll come and get you or whatever." And so that's what I was thinking. Whole time, I'm not taking the grade serious anyway. So I'm just like, I'm still immature in the mind, just thinking like, okay, this football will take me wherever I want to go. So I ended up starting around the third game of the year. I started getting back healthy the third game of the year, and I was traveling. We did pretty good. we had a 500 record, so we were like around 4-5. So wasn't great, but it was a great experience for me. I got to see like what the college level brings as far as speed, strength. Even at the NAIA level, it's still faster than high school. It's still stronger than high school. So it was a great learning experience. It was a humbling experience, especially coming back from an ACL injury. Um, it was some days where I was like, I don't even think I could do this anymore. So especially being in the city I was in, I didn't know anybody. It was a lot of similar guys there. Like they had D1 aspirations, but for some reason they fell short. So it was a humbling experience. And then Saginaw, it was even faster pace. I didn't play there long. I only lasted a year. I fell into some legal issues and got in trouble, so that didn't pan out how I wanted it to. But it was definitely an experience. I got to meet some great players. I got to meet some great coaches, some good people.
Okay, so ultimately, and even what kind of initially got us communicating was the idea of life after, and how you
Mm.
said that it was difficult for you. So for you, obviously, you mentioned that you kind of dealt with a little bit of identity crisis in high school, but I imagine playing on that next level, playing on that collegiate level, it kind of amplifies that because you may have been one piece closer or like one step closer to your ultimate goal, which may have changed from NFL to D1. So, like you said, you only did the 1 year at Saginaw Valley. When things didn't pan out, like you said, where you had gotten in trouble, what was going through your mind now that you knew that football was over?
Disappointment. I felt ashamed, embarrassed. Growing up, everyone was like, "Man, he's gonna be something special." Like, you know, just always hearing good things from people. And it kind of went straight to my head. And when it all came down after Saginaw, I just felt like, okay, well, I don't know what I'm gonna do. I don't know who I am as a man, as a person. I don't know what I want to be. It definitely hit hard coming back home from Saginaw.
You just mentioned a little bit earlier about how you it was difficult for you with the transition and you were going through a lot. Something that I'm kind of curious about when it comes to that transition away from it, like you're dealing with no longer being a part of football. How did you get out of that place? Because I imagine that that was just as hard as getting into it.
Trial and error, you know, trying my hands, trying my hand at different things. Um, Originally, when I came back home, I just got a job, whatever job I could find, I did it. From landscaping to being a cook, a line cook, demo work, carpentry, like just anything I can get my hands on. And at the end of the day, I knew I just wanted to make an impact on younger people's lives. Every time I would talk to people, everybody used to call me like preacher, or like they'd just say you have something wise to say. So I just felt like that was my calling. And then that's where, I started talking to my parents about, getting into the education field, and that I've been in the education field since.
So you said that everybody's calling you preacher, and I think that you said like with the wisdom and all of the things that you experienced, which I think is tremendous because I don't think, especially with younger generation, they recognize that for people that are actually trying to give them advice or help them, that they may have experienced or gone through things that that child may be going through or may go through in the future, and how much you're trying to actually help them and direct them from going in those particular ways. Because the one thing that I've heard always is like wisdom is actually learning from other people's mistakes rather than going through them yourself. So for you, obviously, you're very passionate about the fact of like helping the youth. Were you able to take what you learned on the football field and put that into the youth in terms of sports, or was that just in terms of education?
I realized, the mindset that they try to establish in football can help in every aspect of life. My coach used to tell us all the time, hard work beats talent when talent isn't working. It shows in every aspect of life. I tell kids all the time, especially in the classroom, like, yeah, man, like if you think you can just coast through class and get good grades, you might in first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, maybe even high school if you that smart. But eventually, you're gonna meet your match, and if you don't put in the work, you're gonna fall short. And I learned that the hard way. So when I went finally finished school, it took that dedication, that commitment that when I was younger, I just wasn't mentally prepared to give. So I definitely preach that to the kids every day, every day.
And as you should. Something that I kind of wanted to touch on is you have a younger brother that plays professional soccer. So
Mm,
I was kind of curious with and you also told me that your other brother he plays soccer as well. So all of you guys play soccer, and obviously with having athletic experience, there's a level of teaching and training, etc., that goes into that. How much of your life experience? Because I don't know the age gap between you and your brother that plays professionally, but how much of the experience that you had in playing in high school, playing in college, were you able to pour into him to help him or potentially help him get to where he's been able to make this game his life essentially?
I'm an honest dude. I feel like for me, they got to see the mistakes I made. There's like a probably for my youngest brother, it's probably like a 6 to 7 year age gap. So they got to see while they were young what not to do when you get older. When you get the opportunity to go different states and do different things, and they got to see like firsthand, like what are the consequences of your mistakes. When you're young, you might get a phone call home, you might get a whooping or whatever the discipline you get, but they got to see, okay, like my older brother is going through this, and this, and his dream of playing in the NFL is gone. So I need to move accordingly. So it wasn't really like what I got to pour into them. They got to see like the flaws, they got to see the mistakes I made, and they could choose a different route.
Being an older brother, because I'm an older brother as well, and similarly speaking, like I don't always have to say it verbally to them. Sometimes they can see through my experiences, but seeing them succeed and learning from your mistakes, how proud are you of seeing in them and seeing them kind of go in a different direction when they could have followed and did some of the same things that you did?
More than they can imagine, more than anyone can imagine. Coming from a Nigerian family, we don't tend to show too much emotion, and I don't we don't hug, like it's not that type of connection, but the love is there, and I'm proud, so proud of who they are, who they are as men, not only as athletes, but as men, because I wouldn't want them to carry around the trauma or carry around the negative energy that I carried around for a long time. So I'm just happy that they're doing what they want to do, instead of having to, do what you have to do, to survive. So I'm definitely very proud.
I love to hear that. Something that you said that I'm kind of going to go back a little bit in reference to getting through that dark place. But you kind of mentioned that like you're Nigerian, you guys don't show a lot of emotion and you like don't hug, etc. And I imagine that also goes to the parents as well. So when you were going through that tough time and you were dealing with that difficulty, was there any person in particular that helped you out of that, as well as was somebody, because you said you carried along a lot of trauma, etc., and dark energy for a long period of time, to which it sounds like you have let that go. Was there somebody that helped you, walked you through that, whether it was like dealing with it emotionally, journaling it, whatever the different ways in which you had to get rid of
Um,
it?
yeah, my mom, she's she's definition of a mother. She's kept me grounded. She's put opportunities in front of me that I didn't see for myself. So that person alone, look, I could speak all day. That person alone has, even when I gave up, she didn't give up. She
Mm,
didn't let me give up. So that really, it wasn't. I didn't have no mentor. I didn't. You could put me in front of a therapist. I'll manipulate the therapist, whatever whoever, what I'm saying. But my mom, she sees right through me. So it was like I let my mom down by getting kicked out of school. I let my mom down not, achieving what I set out to do. So I had to show up in some aspect. I couldn't allow myself to fall so far down that your parents don't even want to see you or be around you. So that it clicked in my head like failure's not an option anymore. It's just not an option anymore.
got you. So that leads me to this point. You've been able to get married and start your own family. For
Mhm.
you, maybe not even in sports in particular, but what is it from what you've learned that you would instill in your child and or children as they get up, if they play sports or even if they don't, and how to adjust when life throws things at them?
Remain humble, be coachable, be teachable. Don't take anything for granted. Don't think because nothing's promised. Don't take anything for granted. People could tell you things. People can show you things, say things, and it's all up to you. If you don't put in the work, you're not gonna get what you want. And even if you put in the work, you may not get what you want, but at least you tried. So that's one thing that I know for a fact. I'm just gonna try to instill in my kids what I instill in my classroom is just like, not even failure is not an option, but just try, try. Don't be passive to the point where you're just not trying. Because life will just steamroll you. It'll roll right over you if you have that mindset where like you could just coast and chill and everything is chill and everything's cool. Because that's not how life is.
Right. So with that, I also like to ask everybody, again, you had the opportunity to play college. What advice would you give a kid that's trying to play at the next level from high school?
Well, the obvious, come in shape. You better be in shape. And then academics come first. Once they ask for transcripts, once they see who's eligible for the travel squad or whatever, however it goes with wherever you're at, and you don't have that GPA to play, you're not playing. You're not playing. I mean, there's select few people that may fall through the cracks that they might let slide, but don't depend on your talent alone to carry you. You got to be smart up top, and the football stuff will take care of itself. If you're good, it'll take care of itself. But because you see a lot of good players in college, they get there, they make it, they go D1, they go wherever, they don't last, they don't stay, they end up not playing anymore. I'm a prime
Right.
example. You know what I'm
Mm-hmm.
saying? I tell them like, look, take academics serious, take school serious, high school is serious. It's only gonna get harder. Life gets harder, so don't think like, oh, high school, I got to do this assignment. This is hard. Life is hard, so take that serious and enjoy it. Have fun. It's easier to have fun when you got your priorities straight. So just keep your priorities straight. Keep the main thing, and just work.
I think with what you're saying, student athlete, the student comes first. Always prioritize being a student. With being able to play at these next levels, it gives you an opportunity for at least a free education for a lot of the athletes. Take advantage of that because that's an opportunity that only few get. So ultimately, you gotta, like you said, be a student first. And then I think that and all of this because of, like you said, life is hard. And I think a lot of high school kids may not recognize this, but you get to make a choice. You get to either make your life harder now and make it easier later, or choose easy now and then have a harder life later. I think
Def-
that you should probably choose to make your life harder in high school so you can have an easier life as you get older. Because the things that you do, the things that you learn, it'll transition with you as you grow older.
it's in every aspect. Like even on the football field, if you run, you condition. When you get to the game, you shouldn't be too tired. You know what I'm saying? Of course, you're gonna reach a point where you get tired, but like if you prepare yourself, then you're ready. You know, it's the saying to stay ready. Um, so I definitely agree with you on that, 120%.
All
You
right.
know,
It's like you say, you just got to do the hard thing, got to do the extra work so that you can get to where you want to go. Last question, because ultimately this is about life after sports.
mm,
For you, what would you say, or what advice would you give somebody about getting back to life? Because once you're the ball will stop bouncing, you'll have no longer be able to put those pads on. How do you get back to life?
connect with your people, man. Go back to your roots, man. At a young age, your life is revolves around the sport of your choice, and you think like, okay, this is me. I am football. This is me. You know what I'm saying? But in reality, you have many layers to you. You know what I'm saying? I learned that I was a nurturing person, a caring person, a loving person. And, when I was playing football, I didn't highlight those features of me. So those got lost, and it took me to connect with my people. It took me, trial and error, trying different things, meeting different people to realize like, okay, well, I can be something after this. I can be a teacher. At first, I started teaching. I started with the little kids, preschool, and I used to think like, man, I'm not a teacher. I can't do this. Then years started going by. I started entering spaces that, I never thought I'd be in, like board meetings and stuff like that, talking with principals from different schools, different states, and just having real conversations with these people. And they're like, man, you seem like you got a nice head on your shoulders. And I slowly realized, like, this is it. Like, I can do this, you know. Every day it's still the same thing though. Like, man, some days I'm like, I don't even want to do this anymore. These kids are driving me crazy, but you know,
All right.
it's conversations like this that keep me grounded. So just I tell people to connect with those good people in your life and stay grounded. Go back to the roots.
Got you. Thank you, Jordan, for your time.
No problem. I appreciate you, man.
No doubt, man. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe.